Well, good Wednesday morning. Hope everybody is having a wonderful start to the hump day. It's been a nice and quiet day here in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley, a very cold day as well. And it's also the last day for you to prepare, at least the last full day for you to prepare for a potentially impactful winter storm over portions of Northwest Arkansas and especially the River Valley. Again, the River Valley is going to see the most impacts from the storm system, but Northwest Arkansas will also see snow and is also expecting some impacts as well as we move throughout Thursday afternoon and especially early Friday morning as that heavier snow starts to push to the area. But I hope everybody is having a great start to the day again. See a few people in the comment section already. We got some folks from Cassville, Missouri, keeping a close eye on this. Shannon's watching this right now. She's watching a snowstorm rolling to the east and southeast. West Coast right now, some devastating fires as well. And of course, those fires being fueled by some of those very intense winds that they're seeing in California right now. Some areas reporting wind gusts up to 100 miles per hour. Just an absolutely devastating scene. Western California is getting devastated by this fire and certainly keeping those folks in our prayers right now that are being impacted by this. Some just horrible, horrible scenes there and really hoping they can contain that fire as quickly as possible. Multiple fires, really. Hope they can contain those as quickly as possible because it is a really sad situation. So definitely keeping those folks in our prayers. And you are right. It's the same storm system that is going to be moving through our area that's responsible for that. Of course, we're not going to be dealing with any 80, 90, 100 mile per hour winds, but we will deal with some winter weather impacts over portions of our area. So a lot of folks asking about specific areas. We've got folks from Fort Smith, St. Paul. Yes, very sad situation, KT, very sad. Bentonville. We got some folks watching in Harrison right now. Hey, Dwayne, hope you're having a good one. Some folks asking about the River Valley. Some folks saying, hey, let's just get right to it right now. So you know what? When we get right to it, let's get into the information. Let's get into the latest details. Before we get into anything else, I want to show you this Winter Storm Severity Index. I really like this graphic. I typically show it about 2 days out. This thing changes quite a bit. The Weather Prediction Center uses this to kind of gauge the potential severity of storm systems. And I think it's a great kind of visual aid to show you where the higher impacts were expected. But regardless, this is one of those rare storm systems that every single inch of our weather coverage area will have the potential for at least minor impacts. Typically, it's either only Northwest Arkansas that's getting the impacts or only the River Valley that's getting the impacts. Well, every single location has the potential for impacts. It's just that the farther south you go, the more likely it is you're going to run into those higher impacts. So you'll notice pretty much from the Bobby Hopper Tunnel south, as well as in some higher terrain areas of Northwest Arkansas towards Newton County, there is moderate impacts expected from this winter storm. So that can cause disruptions to daily life. That can also cause some issues sometimes with power outages as well. That is one thing I'm going to be watching very closely in the River Valley, depending on how much wet snow can fall. So right now, the moderate impacts are located along and south of the Bobby Hopper Tunnel in the River Valley. For the rest of Northwest Arkansas, minor impacts expected. By definition, according to the National Weather Service, that means that there could be a few disruptions to daily life. You could also have some slick spots on the roadways. And so every single location is going to have the potential to see impacts. It's just that the farther south you go, the higher that threat is. Of course, just off to the south and east of the area, there's major impacts expected in central Arkansas. And I can drag this baby down so you can see that there's even some extreme impacts expected in portions of eastern Texas and southern Arkansas. These areas right here, the reason why they've got extreme impacts expected in these spots is because there could be some freezing rain potential here that may really cause some issues. So we're going to be watching this very, very closely. This is going to be adjusted as more trends come in. But here's the current winter weather headline situation. Now, Northwest Arkansas is not under any winter weather headlines right now. That will change. Let me repeat that again. This will change. I know right now Northwest Arkansas doesn't have any headlines. I promise you there will either be an advisory or a watch or a warning issued later on today for portions of Northwest Arkansas. I am guaranteeing you that. What's happening right now is that the National Weather Service is still trying to gauge their confidence in the system because they don't want to issue an advisory and there end up being warning criteria level snow potential over Northwest Arkansas. So they're watching it. They're kind of getting some more model data in. We're getting the new models in right now. They're going to keep watching this. They're going to keep adjusting that forecast as necessary. But that's the reason why Northwest Arkansas doesn't have any winter weather headlines right now. Again, that will change later on today. I promise you that. Now, for the River Valley, the confidence is obviously higher, which is why you've got a winter storm warning in effect for Logan and Scott County, as well as a winter storm watch that's in effect for the rest of the River Valley, including Fort Smith along the I-40 corridor. Now, one thing you'll notice here is that the winter storm warning that's in effect, that goes from noon to 6 p.m., so noon tomorrow through 6 p.m. Friday, while the winter storm watch goes from noon tomorrow till noon on Friday. And that's because the National Weather Service office in Tulsa issued this winter storm watch, while these winter storm warnings here in Logan and Scott County were issued by the National Weather Service office in Little Rock. So that's why you see some timing differences between both of these. This winter storm watch as well, located a little bit farther north than these. That right there is also a winter storm watch released by Little Rock. So if I slid this over a little bit to the right, you'll see there's that winter storm watch that I was just talking about. That's in effect from 12 to 6 o'clock. So again, it just all depends on which Weather Service office releases it. But yes, Crawford County is under a winter storm watch right now, Brandon. So as you'll see here, there's Crawford County under that winter storm watch. Fort Smith is included, Mountainburg, Poteau, and LaFleur County included in that winter storm watch. I do anticipate this being upgraded to a winter storm warning. I think they'll go ahead and pull that plug later on today. This will likely be upgraded to a winter storm warning. There's just the confidence is starting to increase. And so I do anticipate this to be upgraded very, very soon. So let's go ahead and move on here to satellite and radar. This is a current look, obviously mostly sunny over our weather coverage area right now. It will remain that way throughout the rest of the day today. So that's why today is going to be the last day for everybody to prepare, everybody get their things that they need in order to prepare for this winter weather. Because tomorrow, especially during the afternoon, conditions will begin to deteriorate, especially along and south of Interstate 40 in the Northwest Arkansas. That will start happening during the evening hours. And yes, we will go live tomorrow, Brendan, and we'll likely be live later on today too. So we're going to have all the latest details. Every morning, every evening that we've got this winter weather potential will be on. So we'll be on this evening. We'll be on tomorrow morning. We'll be on tomorrow evening, and I'll be on Friday morning too. So we'll have all the latest details for you. So we got you covered. We got you covered. So let's go ahead and take a look at this system that's moving in. So a lot of energy. I mean, and a lot of energy. And here's the deal. If you were watching the live stream yesterday, Dan was talking about this kicker system that's moving in. And this kicker system is moving to the southeast. It's not moving due south. So this could impact things a little bit. And of course, there's a little bit of stuttering there at the end. So I'm going to stop it right here. But this kicker system that's moving in is not moving due south. Now, this piece of energy, this Baja Blast, as we call it, is starting to surge off to the north and east. And this is going to be the energy that's responsible for the winter weather potential. Now, the European model has this kicker system moving due south, which keeps this system on a more southerly track, which would definitely impact the snowfall totals in Northwest Arkansas. No doubt about it. That would lessen the snowfall potential in NWA. But clearly, this kicker system is not moving due south. It is moving off to the south and east. So that may change things just a little bit. Now, here's a European model. This is vorticity, but it kind of gives you an idea. There's that kicker system. I was just talking about that right there. Look how it moves due south. That's not what's happening on water vapor right now. That is not happening at this time. So we're going to have to watch these trends very closely, because if that energy wobbles back to the north, which I do anticipate it will just a little bit, that will increase the snowfall totals in Northwest Arkansas. And that's why most of the models have uptrended a little bit in terms of snowfall in NWA. This is the European model. It's still showing snow right around 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. in Northwest Arkansas. A little bit earlier in the River Valley. I think this system is too far south according to the European model, because if it is that far south, then not only will the snow take longer to get into NWA, but there will also be a lot of dry air moving in, and this system will be out very quickly. In fact, this model has it out by 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. So, again, this model right now, the European model, may be struggling just a little bit. And I was talking about this with my buddy Alex Hall, who's a storm spotter here at KNWA Fox 24. And I said, European model is the best long-range model. There's no doubt about it. GFS is really bad. European model is better than NAM. In some cases, it's better even than some of the short-range models. The issue that the European model has had, and I've noticed this in the past, is that it struggles for some reason with these systems that originate in the Baja region of Mexico. I don't know if it's because of the grids, that the data grid set is a little bit wonky with the European model in that area. I mean, every single model struggles with it, but the European model especially sometimes can really underestimate things for our area, and I think it's underestimating the precipitation shield quite a bit as well. So, having said that, we're going to have to watch this very closely because I think the European model is actually, for once in its life, the outlier. Now, I'll show the GFS model as well. We're starting to move away from showing the GFS. I still think the GFS is not a great model, truth be told, but it does have a more northerly track with the system. And I think that makes sense. So this is what we're looking at with the GFS. You can see that precipitation shield building in to northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. If the system is farther to the north, that means that we could have heavier snowfall along and south of Interstate 40. And we could also see some heavier snowfall rates as well, which would cause higher end impacts. Not only that, but with that northerly track that I'm mentioning right now, this system will stick around for a longer period of time too. So you'll see here the GFS has snow sticking around at 6 o'clock a.m. The European model has it pretty much out of the area by then. Not only that, the GFS is keeping it around till the early afternoon hours. I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's going to be the case for Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. So, again, this is why you're starting to see some meteorologists maybe talking about uptrending those precipitation amounts. We're keeping an eye on that. We're also starting to get the high resolution rapid refresh model in as well. And this is a great model because it's a high resolution model. It's a short term model. It can pick up on those smaller scale details that the two models I just showed you can't. And so that's why it's a better model at this time frame. So let's go ahead and look at what the high resolution rapid refresh model is showing. So here's a look at that right now. You can see some snow showers starting to move into the River Valley right around as early as 7 to 8 o'clock. I have my doubts about these snow showers initially reaching the ground. I also think that there will be some sleet pellets initially mixed in. So that's one thing that maybe some folks are not talking about with the system, but there is a bit of a warm nose. There is a bit of a warm nose that's going to be leaking in initially. That means that we could have some sleet pellets mixed in with the snow showers to start. Also, it will take a little while for the snow showers to reach the ground. So it may be located over northwest Arkansas. You may be saying, okay, I don't know. I don't know. Is it going to snow? Is this a bust and stuff like that? If it's delayed, give it time because as the heavier precipitation rates start to move in, that's when the atmosphere becomes saturated, and that's when you see the snow start reaching the ground. So be patient with us tomorrow is basically what I'm saying because you see this model, it's pumping out a bunch of snow at 12 o'clock p.m. and maybe thinking, all right, disaster zone right now, northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. I don't think that's going to be the case until the middle to late afternoon hours. Like at the earliest, these roads are going to start getting out of hand at 3 o'clock p.m. But I think it's going to be more 4, 5, 6 o'clock when you start seeing road conditions deteriorate because this is when the energy is kicking in. This is when the atmosphere is becoming saturated. And this is when we're seeing that transition from a sleet snow mixture to all snow over northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. You see some areas could get some heavier snow as well, especially in the River Valley there. And there's some moderate snowfall in northwest Arkansas too. So the HRRR is pretty aggressive with this system. And that's because it has it moving a little bit farther to the north. I mean, look at that. Still got some pockets of heavier snowfall moving in NWA at 9 o'clock a.m. on Friday. So roads are going to be a mess Thursday night into Friday. No doubt about that. They could remain a mess Friday night into Saturday as well with some potential refreezing. So expect travel impacts to really ramp up Thursday evening, continue into Friday morning in the afternoon hours, and maybe Saturday morning too. So that's going to be the time frame for some travel issues up and down the I-49, Interstate 40 corridors. Highway 412 will be a mess. Highway 71. Every road will have the potential to be a mess, especially the back roads. So that's something that I know a lot of folks may be wondering about. They may be wondering, okay, when is this going to be off the roads? When we're going to see improving travel conditions? I think by the time we get to Saturday afternoon, travel conditions will be improving in northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. I think by Sunday, things should be relatively fine over our area because we'll see some pretty significant melting. High temperatures will start warming up into the lower 40s by the time we get to Sunday. So that's what we're looking at with the high resolution rapid refresh model. All right. Here's our official forecast. I have adjusted it just a little bit, looking at the latest details. looking at that more northerly track, yes, there is going to be the chance for some sleet to maybe throw a wrench into these totals, but I have lifted that 2 to 4 inch nose just a little bit farther to the north and west to include most of Benton County. So this is, we're going to zoom in here so you can see your town, so you can see specific cities. Again, 1 to 2 inches of snow in far northwestern Arkansas, so like the western side of Bella Vista, towards Gravette, Gentry, these areas right here will see about 1 to 2 inches of snow, probably on the higher end of 2 inches. But 1 to 2 inches is what we're forecasting for these areas. That also includes northeast Oklahoma near Jay, as well as Delaware County, Berry and McDonald County, Pineville, Cassville, included in that 1 to 2 inch amount. Then you get a little bit farther south and east. That's when 2 to 4 inches of snow gets introduced. Now remember, and here's the deal. I sometimes get into this habit too. A lot of the times your eyes are drawn to this 4 inch amount. You're thinking, all right, 4 inches, slam dunk for northwest Arkansas. But here's the deal. The closer you get to this zone of 1 to 2 inches, the more likely you are to be on the lower end of that amount. So I lean more towards 2 inches of snow in places like Bentonville, Springdale, Eureka Springs, Harrison, a little bit farther south and west towards Fayetteville. I lean more towards 2 inches rather than 4 inches in these locations. Having said that, if there's heavier bands of snow, you do start increasing towards that higher end total. But again, when you're looking at this model, don't automatically look, or when you're looking at these forecast maps, don't automatically assume you're going to get 4 inches at your house. If you're farther north and west, the snowfall totals will more than likely be a little bit less, and it'll be more than likely be on that lower end. So Springdale, Fayetteville, Huntsville, Harrison, Eureka Springs, Bentonville, I'm thinking more 2 inches, but there is that chance that it could be locally higher. Now you get a little bit farther south and west towards West Fork, Winslow, Mountainburg, Stillwell. These areas right here may have a chance for some higher end totals, up to 3 to 4 inches as well. Jasper as well towards Newton County. And if we jog a little bit farther to the south, you'll notice Fort Smith is also included in that 2 to 4 inch amount. But again, because Fort Smith is a little bit farther south and east, I lean more towards that 4 inch amount. Greenwood, same thing. Greenwood's kind of on that border of 4 to 6 inch amounts. Clarksville, kind of the same way. Ozark, Alma. So these areas right here are going to have a higher potential for, that higher end amount of 4 inches, and maybe even locally higher amounts as well. Again, this is going to be adjusted as we move throughout the next several hours. But I did move this line a little bit farther south. So this is the 4 to 6 inch amount. That does include Logan County and Boonville, towards Scott County, where that winter storm warning is now in effect. That also includes much of LaFleur County towards Poto, as well as Waldron. And these areas right here, I'm anticipating 4 to 6 inches of snow. Now, a little bit farther south, you'll notice there's a thin line of 6 to 8 inches towards Big Cedar, southern LaFleur, southern Scott County. These areas will have the chance of locally higher amounts because there will be that convective banding. So in these areas right here, this is where I think the higher end impacts will be located, not only because it's going to be farther south, but also because this is the higher terrain of the Ouachita Mountains. So again, I think right now it's a good bet for Fayetteville to receive about 2 inches of snow at the least, with maybe the potential for more. There's that potential there. And then as you move a little bit farther north and west, Bentonville more towards that 2 inch amount. Eureka Springs, I lean towards 2 inches. Springdale, very similar story. And here's the deal. If we move a little bit farther south and east, Fort Smith, I lean more towards 3 to 4 inches. Greenwood, 4 inches. Boonville, 4 to 6. Waldron, 4 to 6. Clarksville, 4 to 6, right on that line. And Poto, 4 to 6 as well. So that's what we're looking at in terms of that snowfall forecast. So hopefully that answers a lot of questions that you may have about your specific town and how much we're expecting. And it also gives you kind of a general idea of what we look at in these forecasts. Again, I know it's easy to get caught up in that big number for your area, the 4 inches, for example, in Fayetteville. But because it's a little bit farther north and west, we lean more towards 2 to 3 rather than that higher end 4 inch amount. So that's what we're looking at in terms of timing, as well as snowfall potential. We can go ahead and look at this little 4-panel graph as well. These are all the different models. Here's the deal. Here's what you need to know. Regardless, every single location is expecting snow in some form or fashion. It's just how much snow will each location get. Every single model shows snow. And here's the deal. Even though the models are a little bit split in terms of, am I going to get more snow here? Am I going to get less snow here? Every single model still shows a swath of heaviest snowfall along and south of Interstate 40. So the European model, obviously a little bit farther south with the track. That's why snowfall totals are less over our area. but still show snow in Northwest Arkansas. Now, the GFS a little bit more bullish on those storm chances, and the North American model just showing snowmageddon right now. So, hey, we'll see. I don't think the NAM's right because here's the deal about the NAM. It's always a little bit too cold this far out, and also it's probably not in the correct snow ratio as well. This is a 10-to-1 snow ratio. We're going to be talking more like 8-to-1 over the River Valley, maybe closer to 10-to-1 in Northwest Arkansas. All right, let's go ahead and get to some questions and comments here. I'm going to go scroll all the way to the top of this. All right, what's the chance of power outages? Probable to get propane or heaters safe for indoors. So, Believe in Heaven 24. Here's the deal about power outages. You have to have quite a bit of snow in order to get that power outage potential, especially with these heavy, wet snowflakes. I will say this: back a couple of years ago, we had a huge snowstorm in Northwest Arkansas. Those big, wet, heavy flakes, and it caused problems. 2023. I remember January 2023. It's right when I started working on the morning show, and it caused a lot of power issues in Fayetteville. And we got about 6+ inches of snow. Now, again, you got to get to those higher end totals in order for that to happen. But this heavy, wet snow can cause power issues because it piles up on those power lines. So if you live in the River Valley, there will be the chance for some power outages. Northwest Arkansas may be a lower end threat for that. But the farther south it needs to go, the more likely you have the chance for that snow load to cause power problems. It's not a high end threat for sure, but it's something we got to watch very closely, especially if you live along the I-40 corridor. Kathy says, Josh, you can sometimes talk very fast. Well, yeah, you're right. You are right about that. And I do apologize. And I'll try to talk a little bit slower. I do apologize about that, Kathy. Yes, bring me some snow. Mikkel's all about it. Mikkel's ready for snow. She's ready to get it on. So here we go. Let's bring on the snow in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. What's the wind looking like for Northwest Arkansas? Very light, Tyler. Very light, 5 to 10 miles per hour. That is one saving grace with the power outage situation. It will not be a strong wind at all. And I do believe a couple years ago when we had that snow in Northwest Arkansas, there was a bit of a wind component to it that caused some issues. But we're talking more 5 to 10 miles per hour area wide. So timing for Fayetteville, Ashley. I don't know if you just got on here. Right around 2 to 3, I think. 2 to 3 is what I'm leaning towards. But significant impacts really start to ramp up during the evening hours in Northwest Arkansas. They really are going to start ramping up in the evening hours. So that's what we're going to be watching there in and around the Fayetteville area. Let's see here. Let's see. The European model may struggle with the Baja energy because it basically is on the other side of the globe from it. Do you do well with things behind you? Well, I do not, Lisa. And, it is interesting. I don't totally know the correct answer to that. I don't know the reason. That may very well be the reason. I don't know. But I have noticed this trend. Maybe it's just because it just doesn't have, there's not enough data being collected there. Like the grid is off. And I mean, most of the time it's like, okay, why would you even need a grid there? So I get it. But they might need to invest some more resources into that, honestly, because European model is a good model. I just think there are some weaknesses with it, such as that. And sometimes it's also a little bit too fast with storm systems. While the GFS sometimes can be too fast too. And it's kind of interesting how it is pretty slow. Let's see. You think 4 to 6 inches expected in Crawford County? How about 3 to 5 in Crawford County? I could see Crawford County getting some locally higher amounts. Brandon, we'll watch that very closely. Canadian looks like it's taking the crown this time. I mean, we'll see. But I was talking about this with Dan. I have to stress this with the Canadian model, folks. It is a cold bias model. And it is always about that big, giant snow event. Not to say it's not a good model because it does have its uses, but be careful with the Canadian model because sometimes it can be way too cold and way over dramatic with things. I have noticed that tendency, unfortunately, with the Canadian model. But it is interesting. It is very interesting. I do agree with that comment, Lisa. I do agree with that. Let's see here. Any chance as to the heavy bands coming in Northwest Arkansas or the River Valley like we did in 2011? I lean more towards the River Valley having that potential for heavier bands, Michael. Northwest Arkansas is certainly could certainly get in on the action as well. But that convective banding, that's going to be a little bit farther south. That's what you're going to see. And that's when you're going to see those really heavy snowfall rates over our area. So good question. There is that chance for that in Northwest Arkansas, but I do lean more towards the River Valley having that potential for that convective banding that can really enhance those snowfall rates. Now, 2011 type of storm, that's a really rare type of storm. I don't think we'll quite get to that point, but as Toddy Cobian says down at KARC, never say never to Arkansas weather, right? So we'll keep an eye on it. When will winter storm watches and warnings be issued for Northwest Arkansas? I think later today, Peter. I think probably during the evening hours, I would presume, about 12 hours before the event, give or take. So keep an eye on it. It could be issued, in 5 minutes, but I do think it will be issued today. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be a winter storm warning. It's going to be at least an advisory. So just get ready. There will be winter weather headlines. And a very similar question from Catherine. Again, it's just because the confidence needs to be fine-tuned for Northwest Arkansas. There is a multitude of different possibilities for Northwest Arkansas. Whereas the River Valley slam dunk, probably going to be winter storm warning criteria snow, no matter if that system wobbles north or south. For Northwest Arkansas, it is dependent on that track if NWA gets winter storm criteria, snowfall totals, and the National Weather Service wants to make sure that they have high enough confidence to either issue a winter weather advisory or issue a winter storm warning because they don't want to change their mind and they don't want to, kind of cause maybe some miscommunication. So they're being very patient with it, and I do agree with that thinking as well. If I live in the higher elevation in Madison County, could I see more than 2 to 4 inches? So, Brendan, that's a great question. You'll more than likely probably see that transition from a sleet snow mixture to all snow a little bit quicker than the surrounding area. So certainly could see that. But this is not the type of system where it's like, okay, the cold air is bottled up in the Boston Mountains and then we're waiting for it to spill over to everyone else, right? The cold air is already in place. So, yes, you might see like maybe a quicker transition by an hour or so in Madison County in the higher terrain, but it won't be as dramatic as what we see with other storm systems. So maybe lean more towards that 3 to 4 inch amount in Madison County rather than the 2 inch amount that I'm thinking for Washington County, but certainly a possibility. The 12Z Euro is coming out now, Josh. It's trending north now, so I'm gonna be looking at that, Ben. Thank you so much for letting me know because I haven't gotten to see that new trend yet. Vegas called again. Are you moving the betting line for Fayetteville totals from 2.5 to 2? I'm not like Vegas. You know what I'm saying, Craig? I got morals, right? I've gotta hold the line. I want to make sure people get in on this kind of bet right now. So we're keeping it at 2.5. We're not changing it, and I'm going to go over. I'm sticking to my guns. I'm going over 2.5 in Fayetteville. And I'm going over because I think this system will go a little bit farther north. Even though there's sleet being introduced to the forecast, I'm still going to go over 2.5. We'll see if I'm right. I'm going to cry if it's 2.4 inches. And if it's 2.5, well, we push. So we'll take that. We'll take a push or a win. I just want a push or a win on this. But I'm not moving the line. I'm keeping it at 2.5. Let's see here. Some more questions. Others mentioned the Canadian model on here. Yes, I have to say it's been the most consistent as it's held its forecast since weekend, even though I think the totals it's been showing are bullish and don't account for sleet freezing rain. It's not accounting for the sleet, JT, that's for sure. It has been consistent. And really so have the European and GFS as well, though, in their own separate ways. European's been consistent with that southerly track. GFS has been consistent with the northerly track. Who wins? We'll see. But the NAM. Wow. The NAM went from public enemy number 1 to everybody's favorite model all of a sudden. Isn't that interesting how that works? I'm just going to say that. Remember the NAM yesterday had not a droplet of snow, not a single snowflake in Northwest Arkansas or the River Valley. And all of a sudden it's pumping out 8, 9, 10 inches. Okay. So now it's everybody's favorite model. I see. I see how it is. Let's see here. Adam thinks that the system could produce 5 inches in Northwest Arkansas. It's certainly a possibility, Adam, if it keeps trending north. There's always that chance. Any information on the Harrison area? So, Debbie, you're in that 2 to 4 inch range. You're a little bit farther east, which may foster some higher end totals. So if I zoom in here, you can see Harrison on this map, and we'll move my mug out of the way. I say Harrison 3 inches. I lean more towards the higher end totals for Harrison just because you're farther east, so you'll have more time to enjoy that snow, whereas far northwestern Arkansas, that dry air may eat away at it a little bit quicker. What about Little Rock? Get ready, Alex. You're going to be the winner. You're going to have some good snow in Little Rock. I say 4 to 6 inches plus, maybe even higher than that. I might be even conservative on that front. 5 to 8 inches. We'll go with 5 to 8 inches, Alex, in your neck of the woods in Little Rock. You will be more than likely in the bullseye. That's for sure. Oh, Lisa. Lisa wants the Magic 8 Ball. Here's the deal, Lisa. You may not want me on the Magic 8 Ball if you're a snow lover. Because yesterday I did the Magic 8 Ball and I had to quit after 2 spins. I said, is Northwest Arkansas, or more specifically, is Fayetteville going to get over 2.5 inches of snow? And it said no. Then I asked it if Northwest Arkansas was going to get snow at all. And it said no to that too. So the 8 Ball doubled down yesterday morning. So I'm not going to touch it for the rest of this event, just for all the snow lovers out there. And I'm not a big snow guy personally, but just for y'all who love the snow out there, I'm not touching the 8 Ball because I care about y'all. I want y'all to get a good amount of snow. I want y'all to enjoy it with the kiddos. I want you to have fun and everything. So I'm not going to touch it, just for the snow lovers out there. Now, if we keep having more winter storms this year, I'm probably going to have to touch it some more because then I'm going to be like, okay, I've been staying in these hotels in Fayetteville a little bit too much. So I'm not going to touch the 8 Ball. I'm going to let Dan use its powers if he wants to later on this afternoon. But I'm not going to touch it. This light keeps going off right now. Well, okay, we'll just kind of sit in the darkness here. How long do you think roads will be problematic? Holly, I think they will be problematic through at least Saturday midday. By Saturday afternoon, they should be much improved just because the sun will start coming out. We will have temperatures above freezing by then. The road crews are going to be able to really get all that stuff off the road. So Saturday midday, and especially Sunday, really, that's when the roads are going to be in pretty good shape, I think. Will there be any issues on after-school commute in Northwest Arkansas? Amber, this is a good question. It's borderline is my answer because I do think the snow will start falling in Northwest Arkansas right around 2 to 3 o'clock. But in terms of like significant impacts, I don't think that happens until the evening. So maybe the after-work commute could be a mess. The after-school commute, it's borderline. It's borderline. I'd be careful. I'd be careful out on the roadways just in case. And I know a lot of schools are already planning on doing like early exits tomorrow. There's already some schools that are starting to close. So, yeah, it will more than likely be fine in Northwest Arkansas. River Valley, that'll be a different story. I think it will be, you'll start seeing impacts in the River Valley much earlier. But because the temperatures are going to be like slightly above freezing, and then we have to get that evaporative cooling, I don't think there will be many impacts until later on in the evening hours in Northwest Arkansas. Let's see here. Of course, absolutely. Anytime. I'm more than happy to be on here. I enjoy talking to y'all, and I enjoy answering your questions. You guys are awesome, and I just really appreciate that. And yeah, Gloria, I was just talking about that. I think there will be some schools that do early closures on Thursday. Let's see here. Oh, my daughter's cheer team has to travel to Dallas Friday. What can I expect with roads to Dallas from Fayetteville? Kimberly, they might be a little dicey. Especially in northern Texas. I know those areas really struggle with winter weather. It doesn't take, I'm talking about how it doesn't take a whole lot to cause problems in Northwest Arkansas. It doesn't take anything to cause issues in Texas. I've seen the videos down there. I know the kind of resources they have. It's not as great as a lot of other areas, but yeah, we're gonna have to might need to delay that a little bit. Friday could be a little dicey. I'm gonna be honest with you. Let's see here. Thanks for the info. Hoping my kiddo is able to fly XNA for a 5 p.m. flight tomorrow. Jennifer, it will be borderline. I think they'll be fine at 5 p.m., but if it comes in earlier, then it could cause some issues. I think they'll be fine. I'm praying they'll be fine. I think they will. I think things won't get bad in Northwest Arkansas, especially at XNA in Benton County, until after dark. That's what I think, or after sunset in Northwest Arkansas. Let's see here. Do you think this storm will be a big one for the South, like Mississippi and Tennessee? I mean, big for Mississippi standards for sure. I mean, they might get 2 to 4 inches, maybe even some higher amounts. That's big for Mississippi. That is for sure. because remember, Mississippi is a state that is along the Gulf of Mexico. So a lot of the times, Arkansas is landlocked. Mississippi is not. So sometimes you can get some of that warming that goes on there. It gets a little bit warmer in those spots. It's a bit of a struggle to get that Arctic air and for it to remain in place. So, if they get 2 to 4 inches plus in those spots, that will be a big storm. Tennessee, they've probably been there, done that with this one. They've probably been there, done that. Let's see. Could snow squalls be a problem here in central Arkansas? Ben with a good question. Very heavy snow possible in central Arkansas for sure, Ben. A lot of times with snow squalls, you do need some very strong winds as well, and low visibility too, which the low visibility can be caused strictly from the intensity of the snow. So Central Arkansas could have some snow squalls for sure, some convective banding, that cold air conveyor belt, which it just really ramps up your snowfall rates. And calling it right now, I think an area in central or southern Arkansas is going to get near a foot of snow. I think they will get about 12 inches of snow in those spots. And one or two spots. It's not going to be widespread, but I would not be shocked to see a location get near a foot at the very least. There's always that one spot that just gets this consistent band that just stays in the same spot for hours. So will that be in our area? More than likely not. It's probably going to be in central and southern Arkansas, but you never know. You never know. Let's see. What time will it start in northwest Arkansas? Right around 2 to 3 o'clock, I think. Maybe a little bit earlier. What is the criteria for a warning? 4 inches of snow, Pastor Zach. 4 inches of snow. So it's borderline in northwest Arkansas. I think that's why I'm leaning more towards a winter weather advisory in northwest Arkansas. They'll probably say 1 to 4 inches in the advisory, with the potential for locally higher amounts. They'll probably mention that in the advisory. I don't think they will pull a winter storm in northwest Arkansas quite yet. I don't think they'll pull a winter storm warning quite yet. They might do it during the event, but there's just so much uncertainty. It's really going to be coming down to what's going on during the event. But trust me, there's still going to be winter weather headlines, and there is still going to be snow in northwest Arkansas regardless. There's still going to be impacts. Jerry's going with 2 to 3 inches of snow in Siloam. I think that's a pretty good bet. I think that's a pretty good bet right there. How come the River Valley gets the good storms and snow? Northwest Arkansas wants some good actions. We feel left out. Well, Savannah, gotta remember Northwest Arkansas has actually gotten the bulk of these big systems over the last couple of years. That January storm we had a couple of years ago was massive. That caused some big time impacts in Northwest Arkansas. River Valley can get a snowstorm. But me personally, I'm okay with River Valley getting every snowstorm. But because I love this community and I know we got some snow lovers out there, I'm okay with Northwest Arkansas getting 1 or 2 a year too. I'll put aside my own personal snow biases that I have now, and I will allow Northwest Arkansas to get 1 or 2 good snowstorms a year. I won't complain. Let's see here. What are y'all predicting for Russellville? So it's just outside of our weather coverage area, Amber. It does look like Russellville could get a pretty good snow. You're under a winter storm warning, I think, in Russellville. Let me look here. Again, you're just outside of our coverage area, but we still keep an eye on things out there. I think you're still under a winter storm watch, but I don't think that will last much longer. I think you'll be under a winter storm warning very, very soon. So Russellville, probably 4 to 6 inches, and maybe the potential for higher amounts. Crawford County, Van Buren is River Valley, right? Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah, that is correct. Yep. Crawford County is considered River Valley. Van Buren is considered River Valley. So, yep. You are definitely in the River Valley for sure. Carissa says, let it snow. Carissa, let it snow indeed. If the NAM is correct, I won't be sad. Lisa, if the NAM is correct, I got to do some kind of challenge. If the NAM is actually right, okay. Y'all start pitching ideas in the comments right now. Just pitch some challenge ideas. I'll pick the best one. Obviously, can't be inappropriate or anything like that. But if you guys have some challenge ideas, if the NAM is correct, if this model run right here, and again, it has to be correct in order for me to do the challenge. So you guys come up with some stuff. I will do it. I promise you. as long as it's not inappropriate. If this model right here that I'm about to show you, if that is correct, I will do a challenge. I'll pick from some ideas that you got in the comments. If that is right, I don't think it will be. If that is right, though, Lisa, I will do some kind of challenge because that is insane. That is just insane. And again, it's a 10-to-1 snow ratio, so you're already at a disadvantage there because it probably won't be 10-to-1. But again, if there is, let's say there is 8 inches of snow. Okay. If there is 7.5 inches of snow or more in Fayetteville, I will do the challenge. That's the agreement right there. So we'll set it at 7.5. If it's 7.5 inches or higher, I will do some kind of challenge that you guys are pitching in this live stream. So comment those. I'm going to get through some more comments, and then when I start seeing some of these ideas, we'll start figuring out what I got to do. Let's see here. I'm going to take this off the screen, though, because I think that is just way out to lunch. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's see here. Okay, is it just Northwest Arkansas expecting sleet? This is a good question right here, Amber. So I do think Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley will see a snow sleet mixture, at least initially. It will be in the River Valley as well. There is that warm nose that the models never pick up on. But I do think Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley will have initially snow and sleet. Now, it will eventually transition to all snow, but that sleet that happens initially could impact the snowfall totals over our area. So it's not just Northwest Arkansas, it's also the River Valley, though I do think the transition will occur maybe a little bit quicker in the River Valley just because the precipitation rates will be a little bit faster in the River Valley, helping to cool off that column across the atmosphere. Let's see here. Yeah, Josh Marshall, rugs. This all looks really gross, my dude. And yeah, it is really gross. So yeah, I am, again, Josh, you know, because you worked in this industry and stuff like that, and all the other folks that have to still work, even though there's snow. It's not fun. It's not fun, but it has made me a better winter weather driver. So time to put it to the test once again, it looks like. Lisa's talking about the 8-ball. Maybe she's warmed up now. I'm still not going to test fate, Lisa. I'm giving a shout out for you guys, okay? I'm looking out for you. 8-ball was following the NAM yesterday. Yes, it was looking at the North American model. It made that mistake. Never look at that. Will this start before we get out of Bud Walton Radio tonight? Oh, yeah. No worries at all, Denise. And I will see you at Bud Walton tonight because I'll be at the game as well at 6 o'clock p.m. No problems at all tonight. You don't have to worry about anything tonight. So go to that Razorback game. Have a great time. Scream your lungs out. Arkansas beats Ole Miss by 90. Hogs by 90. Woo Pig Suey. Boogie Flan going off for 30. No problems at all, Bud Walton Radio. You don't have to worry about anything. And I think Saturday, too, for that 3 p.m. game against Florida, I think the roadways will be dramatically improved. So I think by Saturday afternoon, I think Arkansas versus Florida should be good too. Hopefully we get a big crowd because Florida pounded Tennessee last night. I don't know if you saw the score. They beat them by like 30. That's going to be a tough game in Bud Walton. Florida might be the real deal. But one game at a time. We got to beat Ole Miss first. We really need this game. I think this is a must-win game for Arkansas, honestly. And then we'll move on to Florida. If we can beat them, we're rocking and rolling in this SEC slate for sure. Yeah, 8-ball's been fired. It's been fired for me. That's for sure. I'm not touching that thing. Let's see. I know Russellville's not in the coverage area, but miss living in Fayetteville because you guys are so great. Well, Amber, thank you so much. Still come to you guys for weather updates, even though I live in Russellville. So, Amber, I did mention a couple things about Russellville there. Just again, you guys might get some real deal snow, 4 to 6 inches, maybe some higher amounts. I do expect y'all to be upgraded to a winter storm warning very, very soon. Now, Magic 8-ball was pretty accurate last spring. I'll give it credit, Brendan. Credit where credit is due. And maybe it's accurate about this system, which is why I don't want to touch it anymore. Because I want y'all to have snow, the ones that like it. And yeah, I like snow, not ice either, Richard. I'm all about that. So Marilyn, you asked about Fort Smith. So as you can see, Fort Smith's in that 2 to 4 inch range. But I do think Fort Smith will have the potential for that higher end kind of snowfall total. So 3 to 4 inches likely in Fort Smith with the potential for some locally higher amounts as well in and around the Fort Smith area. So Fort Smith has a higher end potential for a more significant snowfall. Let's see. My friend is asking if you need a girlfriend. That's funny. That is funny. Let's see here. What about roads to Clinton on Friday? Ooh, Friday's just going to be dicey, David, in general. That'll be a dicey drive going through some of those hills. I would say Friday, new goo, especially during the morning hours. I mean, if you have to travel, please take it nice and easy. Make sure you find the route that has the least amount of hills. Though Clinton, that's a drive where you got to sometimes go through some hills. But Friday will be a little bit dicey, David. I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you on that front. So just be careful if you must travel, but if you can, maybe delay that to Saturday midday, if possible. I know that's not feasible for everybody, though. What is the temperatures going to be? So it's going to be in the lower to middle 30s throughout this event, Sarah. We will probably start off initially just a touch above freezing. Now, let's look at the 2-day forecast timeline that I've got here. I'm going to pull that up for you right now. So obviously today is nice and quiet. I'm going to move my mug out of the way. So on the 2-day forecast timeline, temperatures in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley will be slightly above freezing early in the afternoon hours, slightly above freezing. And then as evaporative cooling takes over, the snowfall rates will get a little bit heavier, and that will allow for temperatures to drop off into the middle to upper 20s. So there's going to be no issues with the snow sticking. The question is when does the sleet move out and when does the evaporative cooling finally take over and we see the snow reach the ground in Northwest Arkansas? That is the main question that will not be answered really until the event occurs. Impacts on Friday morning out of XNA. Oh, Kimberly, it could be a little dicey Friday morning. I'll be honest with you. Now, maybe Friday afternoon into the evening hours, it will be improved because the snow will finally stop. They can clear things out just a little bit. Friday morning could be a little bit dicey, though, in Northwest Arkansas. How about driving from Northwest Arkansas to Kansas City Friday day? So, Lacey, this is a good question. Now, your initial part of the drive is going to be a bit of a struggle. It's going to be a bit of a hassle. And then as you move farther north, it should improve, though I'm not too sure about the road conditions in Kansas City. I'm confident that it should be better up there. Obviously, they had a big blizzard last week. I feel like, though, it should be much improved up there, though. I mean, it's been cold, too. So the roadways should be fine as you get a little bit farther north. It's Northwest Arkansas, driving out of Benton County and Southwest Missouri. That may be a bit of an issue. But you should be able to get out if you drive nice and easy, man. Friday during the day is going to be the best time to leave. Friday during the day, not Friday morning. Let's see here. Good thing I stocked up on bread, says Josh. Get that bread and milk, right? That's the way to go. Dan said he's going to leave early because as soon as they issue the winter weather advisory in Northwest Arkansas, it's going to be full blast. And yeah, Toby, I was just talking about that. And again, asking for some folks to do some challenges. Any challenges? If we get 7.5 inches of snow in Fayetteville, I will do whatever challenge I select here out of the list. Let's see here. Will you do snow angels tomorrow and Friday? Mark, I'll do snow angels. I'll do it. I'll do that for sure. I always do that. But I'll have to make sure that I do it towards the tail end of the broadcast because, yeah, I got dress pants on. So I don't want them to get too wet on Friday. I'll do it, though. I'll do it, Mark. Make sure you remind me, okay? Make sure you remind me. That way I do it. My husband is flying home early from DFW now and should be home tonight instead of tomorrow. Thanks for all the good info. Becca, I'm so glad to hear that. I think that's a great move. Better safe than sorry. If he can leave as early as possible, I think that's always great. So he should be able to get in no problems at all tonight and then enjoy the snow together tomorrow. Should be a good time. Let's see here. Let's see. It used to snow way more in Rogers than now, but okay, buddy. Well, okay, buddy. Will the snow be good for building a snowman? I'm retired and need something to do. This will be actually the perfect snow here in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. It's that wet snow. It's not too slushy. It's also not too powdery. You can make those snowballs really quickly. I think this is going to be a great snow for snowman making and a great sledding snow too. So a lot of different outdoor activities possible with this type of snow here in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. I think you'll be having a good time making a snowman as we move towards Thursday and especially Friday morning. Friday morning is going to be a great time to get out there. Let's see here. Yeah, of course. So glad that you're allowing it. Thank you for the kindness. Absolutely, Lisa. And I'm with Savannah. Let's get one good snowstorm and then jump into spring with some storm potential as well. Of course, we always have to deal with storms. So we'll be watching that very closely. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm starting to see the challenges. I'm going to look at a few more questions that were above that. Anything serious for Benton County, Donita, there will be impacts. So regardless, if we get an inch of snow in Benton County or 4 or 5 inches in Benton County, there's going to be impacts no matter what. So got to make sure you're avoiding travel Thursday night and Friday morning. I think it will be pretty dicey on those roadways. Be slick everywhere in our weather coverage area. Be slick everywhere, regardless of how much snow you get. So in terms of travel impacts, yes, it could be serious in Benton County. In terms of like long term, you're in your house for multiple days kind of event, not going to be the case. Let's see here. Definitely a northern trend with the Euro, so we'll check that out in just a minute. Any icing snow across the Missouri line? Yep, Marcia, there will be snow, but it won't be nearly as much as northwest Arkansas. The farther north you get to the Missouri, the less snow there will be. Let's see here. Okay, here's some of the challenges right now that I'm seeing. So Savannah said shave your head. Man, that's a good one. I don't think I will be able to do that, Savannah, just because I have to be on air. I have to be on TV. I love that challenge idea, though. If I was like a YouTuber or something like that, if my job was like to do YouTube, I'll do it. I think that would be the challenge. If it looks like I'm waving my hand at the camera, it's because I'm trying to keep it in one place. Eat habanero, says Donita. Oh my goodness, that's painful. Okay. Challenge: plow out my 1/10 of a mile dirt driveway. Woo! My goodness, that sounds like a lot of work right there. 2-mile jog in the snow while live, if the name is correct. Okay, Pastor Zach, that one's in the top 3. We're gonna get the top 3 here. That one is automatically going to the top 3. I love that one right there. I love that one right there. If the NAM is correct, you have to wear pink for a week. Okay, Mark, I like that one. Sing a Broadway tune on air. Ice bucket challenge at 3 p.m. outside on Friday. Oh, somebody else said Baja Blast cold plunge. If it's right, eat a pizza with anchovies. Stand barefoot in the snow for 5 minutes. Man, you guys are savage. Polar plunge, shave your head, food challenges. Getting to the road in the first place. That's the best one right there. Oh, if the name is right, you should dress up like a snowman for work the next day. That's funny. I love that one too. Live in Clarksville, work in Dardanelle, praying they treat the highways, and they definitely will do that. Chubby Bunny Challenge. I've never heard of that before. I have actually never heard of that before, so I'm gonna have to check that out. If the name is correct, you have to wear a green suit and disappear on TV. Okay, I like that one. World's largest Sundays. You know what, guys? I think we got a winner. I like this one that Pastor Zach has. 2-mile jog in the snow while live. I will do that. I will stream live on StreamYard. I'll post it to Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. I will be live, and I will jog 2 miles in the snow on Friday if we get 7.5 inches in Fayetteville. So we'll watch it. We'll keep a close eye on it. Now, here's the deal. I live in Bella Vista, so I'm going to wait until all the snow's out of the area, right? So I might leave here at work at 12 o'clock if it's still snowing, right? Then we're going to keep letting it go. So we're going to end this kind of potential, this accumulation totals. We're going to end the accumulation totals once the snow ends, to be fair, because that's going to be the storm total, right? We're not going to have a set time when the snowfall will end, right? It's whenever this system is out of the area, that's when we're measuring the official accumulations in Fayetteville. So, Pastor Zach, if the NAM is correct, this is the challenge. I will do a 2-mile jog in the snow while live. Again, 7.5 inches. That's the magic number in Fayetteville for me to do this. Oh boy, that's going to be hard. And I will do it in short sleeves and shorts too. I'm not going to wear sweatpants. So that's kind of incorporating some of these other challenge ideas into there. Brian says, hello, Josh. Just remember, my kids are counting on you. They're giving you one last chance before they feel like they're forced to take action. So, Brian, okay, I really appreciate you giving me the heads up on that front. And we'll make sure that everything works out here. Okay, that way the kiddos don't get me, and I will take the brunt of the blame. I'll take it off of Dan. They can blame me. They don't have to blame Dan anymore. He's been doing this for 25 years. They can take the blame off of Dan. They can put it all on me. And that right there is another thing that we can do as well. Let's see here. Greetings from the Baja California. Okay, David. That's where our storm system is coming from. So we appreciate you tuning in. That's awesome. That's awesome right there. They're already preparing the roads here in Bentonville. Love being proactive. I love that too. I think that's fantastic. And the great news about the system, the best thing about the system, we don't have like that rain beforehand. And man, when that rain comes in, right, that can wash off the treatment, that can throw a wrench into everything. We will not have that with this system. So that's a good sign right there. Let's see here. All right. Guys, I think I'm just about ready to end this one. It's 12:16. I think we kind of answered all the questions here that we've seen so far. And I really appreciate everybody asking all these questions. So most likely no school Friday. Here's what I'll say, Olivia. Do your homework. But yes, more than likely no school Friday. Do your homework, because when I was younger, I'm speaking from personal experience, we had a system that was supposed to come through Hot Springs. Didn't really pan out. Didn't do my homework. Went to school next day because we didn't have school that was canceled, and got in a bit of trouble right there. Not only with the parents, but also with the teachers in the school. So make sure the kiddos are doing the homework, right? That way you got the homework done. You don't have to worry about it. You can enjoy the snow. You get that extended weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then you go back to school on Monday, and then you get some more homework. But that way you're not doing it Sunday, right? So if the school's out, right, you don't do your homework, you don't have to do it Sunday. You can just take Sunday off. So do the homework, kiddos. Get it done now. Get it done in advance. That way you don't have to worry about it at all, and you can enjoy your snow day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's the best piece of advice I can give right there. Let's see. Will school dismissal be impacted tomorrow? So, Taylor, I know some schools, I know some folks have been asking about this. Now, I'll say this. I don't ultimately make the decisions for the schools. I can offer them guidance. That's ultimately up to them what they want to do. I will say this. At River Valley, there will be impacts possible as early as tomorrow afternoon, right around 3 o'clock p.m. Northwest Arkansas, there will be some snow chances tomorrow afternoon. But I think the impacts for Northwest Arkansas really won't start ramping up until 5, 6, 7 o'clock after sunset time frame. So it's a good question. We can give guidance to the schools. We can't ultimately make that decision for them. I do know some schools are already, being proactive and, letting the students out early. Again, we'll be watching it very closely. Of course, they can always do that, tomorrow morning as well, based on new information. If it's coming in earlier, they can obviously see that and leave early. So, again, Taylor, there is a chance for that in the River Valley for sure. Northwest Arkansas, I don't know if that's really going to be the case, just because we got to have that evaporative cooling first, and it may take a little while for those impacts to start ramping up. Shovel Dan's driveway. I bet Dan would be very happy if that was the challenge. I bet he would be absolutely thrilled if that was the challenge. Hey, Patrick. So Patrick's our manager. He can come on. He's our assignment manager right here. So Patrick, here's the deal. I'm going to move this camera up right now. Here, sit down right here. So here's the deal.
All right.
One of the computer models, which is a North American model, it's been pumping out crazy snowfall totals. Like it's pumping out 7.7 inches in Fayetteville. So
how reliable is that model?
It's awful. It's the worst one.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
But here's the deal. The viewers were talking about this, and I was talking about this with the viewers. We have decided that if Fayetteville does get 7.5 inches, I will do a challenge on the live stream. Of course, work appropriate and stuff like that. Here's the challenge that we've decided on. I'm going to run 2 miles in the snow Friday afternoon and stream it live here on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
I will help him count personally. I will be in a vehicle behind him going very slowly and making sure that he gets every single inch of that 2 mile run done.
There you go.
So you could.
He's very excited. He's very excited now.
I'm actually really excited.
His eyes just lit up as soon as I said that.
I know. I haven't been this excited. I haven't been this excited since the Eagles won the Super Bowl 2017.
Yeah, exactly. And
2018.
2018. Yeah, Nick Foles. Yeah. The legend right there. The legend.
So
again, that's the challenge. Now again, it's very low potential for that to happen.
Yeah.
But it's there. It's out there into the internet. So
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Now I'm excited. Yeah.
And
I'll keep him on.
yeah, and by the way, here's the person that was responsible. Pastor Zach. He was the one who was responsible. He said, I dig it. Let's go. He's rooting for the NAM right now. He wants me to run that 2 miles. He's the one who came up with this challenge idea. Some of these people are diabolical, by the way. There was like somebody who said shave your head. There was another one that said do a polar plunge on Friday.
The polar plunge would be a fun one too.
But
let's do the run because I think the
Yeah.
run is safer for you.
the run is safer. I'll do it in short sleeves, short pants, and stuff like that. I'm not
Like
gonna wear
super
sweatpants.
short shorts, like borderline uncomfortable.
I will wear my cross country pants from when I was younger. I will do that. I will do that. No, I will. I'll do it. I'll do it. I mean, I had to deal with it when I was younger. So he's getting a cupcake right now, by the way. We had some cupcakes here in the studio. So anyway, yeah, it's gonna be fun. You know what? I'm rooting for the NAM to win just so I have to do it because I think it'd be funny. It's good content, right? It's good content. JT says latest Euro. Let's go ahead and look at it. Let's go ahead and look at it, Josh. So let me pull this up. Okay. Let's pull up the latest European model, and I'm going to do this by sharing the screen. So let me make sure this is full screen here. We're going to present, share screen, models, boom. Should be pulled up right now. I'm going to make it full screen. I'm going to take my mug out of the way, and let's go ahead and look at it. Let's go ahead and look at what the European model is pumping out. That kind of looks a little weird. Hold on just a second. Don't know why it looks weird like that. Doesn't it look like some of it's chopped off? Well, regardless, you can see it. We'll figure it out later. So here's a look at the European model. Let's go ahead and go regional. Let's go to the South Central U.S. First of all, let's see how it's evolving the precipitation rates now. So we're going to put this into a loop. So it's got snow coming into the river valley right around lunchtime. Even some bands of heavier snow moving into the river valley right around lunchtime. Northwest Arkansas starting to get impacted by the snow during the afternoon again. It's going to take a little while for this to reach the ground. Looks like some lighter snow in Northwest Arkansas compared to the river valley, but man, a band of very heavy snow south of the I-40 corridor as we move throughout early Friday morning. So that's the latest European model if you're just looking at the deterministic. If we go to winter weather, let's look at snow depth because that's the best way to do it. Dang it. It's still showing snow in far northwestern Arkansas. Hopefully it takes it out. Okay, takes it out just in time, so that's good because there isn't any snow in northwest Arkansas right now, so that would impact the accumulation totals here. But snow depth is the best way to look at things because it factors in the ratio of the snow, and it is showing about 1 to 2 inches. This is very similar to what the previous European model was showing. So not a whole lot of changes there because if I go to hour 54 and then I go back to the 6Z, it's very similar. See how it's been very consistent with the snowfall totals over northwest Arkansas? It may have uptrended just a little bit. 18Z yesterday had a little bit more in northwest Arkansas. Then it downtrended. Then it uptrended just a little bit, and it's kind of the same, though it does have a little bit more snow in the river valley. Now, again, I'm looking at snow depth. You may be wondering, what is this? This is not the map that I see on social media and stuff like that. Well, that's because the map that you see on social media is this 10-to-1 snowfall ratio. So go ahead and copy and paste this image into your head right now. You see how it's showing 6, 7 inches in central Arkansas, 1, 2, 3 inches in NWA, 3, 4, 5 inches in the river valley. Go ahead and copy and paste this snow depth map. And then let's look at the 10-to-1 ratio. Aha! It's showing much greater snowfall potential. And that's because it's assuming a 10-to-1 ratio. But that's not going to be the case with this storm system. It's going to be more like 6-to-1 in some portions of central Arkansas, 8-to-1 in the river valley, and maybe a little bit closer to 10-to-1 in northwest Arkansas. And that's why you see 2.1, 2.2 inches right in northwest Arkansas with the 10-to-1 ratio. And if I go to snow depth, it only drops off just a little bit, whereas it drops off significantly in central and southern Arkansas because the ratios are much greater in those areas. It's more 6-to-1, 8-to-1 rather than 10-to-1. So it's not the true ratio. So that's the European deterministic model. Now, of course, we can look at the ensemble data here. So let's go ahead and look at the ensemble data. And hopefully you can still see my screen. You cannot. So I'm going to switch this over here. Let me switch this over. Hold on one second, folks. I'm going to pull up our weather bell maps. You can see that full screen. Perfect. And let's go to the European ensemble. And let's see what it's got going on here. So it should be the 12Z. It is. Should go out all the way. It does. Let's go to United States regions. Let's go to South Central. Let's see what the ensemble is pumping out in terms of winter weather. So let's go ahead and go to snow depth. This is the ensemble. So this is a bunch of different models. It's basically pumping out the same model multiple times. And that's why the ensembles are much better in terms of forecasting winter weather. So as you can see here, it's showing a little over 2 inches of snow in far northwestern Arkansas. And then a little bit farther south towards the river valley, it's showing 4, 5, 6 inches of snow. Now that's snow depth. Again, this is based off of the true ratios, the true snowfall ratios, because if I go to the 10-to-1 ratio, I bet you it's much higher. And there it is. This is assuming a 10-to-1 ratio. It's much higher than if I go to snow depth, which is lower. So again, you're seeing 8, 9, 10, 11 inches of snow in central Arkansas, 3, 4, 5 inches in NWA. And yes, NWA, it's going to be right around a 10-to-1 ratio, which is why it's not much of a difference in terms of snow depth. But for central Arkansas, you're kind of basically cutting that in almost half in some spots in terms of what the 10-to-1 ratio is showing. So I hope that kind of gives you a better idea of the difference between snow depth and snow ratio. Again, snow depth it does a much better job of figuring out what the ratio is for the snow and giving you a true outlook on what exactly we're going to see in terms of accumulation. But look at this. This is the percentage chance of over an inch of snow, 90 to 100%. Over 3 inches for northwest Arkansas, that gets cut down. It's going to be a very thin margin, a lot of dry air, so it gets cut down. Washington County right now has about a 60 to 80% chance, while far northwestern Benton County has a 20 to 40% chance. So River Valley, again, likely to see the greatest impacts. Fort Smith area has a nearly 90 to 100% chance of seeing over 3 inches of snow. What about 6 inches? Well, that gets cut out of northwest Arkansas. River Valley still has that potential a little bit farther south. So that's why we're going with greater snowfall chances in the River Valley, at least in terms of those major impacts. And look at that, even a small chance of over 12 inches of snow. Are you kidding me? In southwest Arkansas? But again, that's assuming a 10-to-1 ratio too. So that might be a bit of a different story. But this kind of proves right here that no doubt about it, we're going to see snow in some form or fashion across our weather coverage area. So hopefully that gives you a better idea of what we're working with. I'm going to go ahead and start to wrap this up because, it's a little bit past my time to be here. And also Dan and Peyton are going to be in here in just a minute. And they're going to have more information coming up a little bit later on today. They're going to have another weather live stream. No doubt about it. They're going to have another weather live stream with all the latest details. So let's go ahead and take one more look at the estimated snowfall totals for the area. Again, the farther north and west you go, the lighter those snowfall totals will be. So far northwestern Arkansas, southwest Missouri, and Berry and McDonald County, as well as northeast Oklahoma, 1 to 2 inches of snow. A little bit farther south and east towards Fayetteville, West Fork, Winslow, Mountainburg, Harrison, Jasper, 2 to 4 inches. But again, as you get a little bit farther north and west, you lean more towards those 2-inch amounts rather than that 4-inch amount. So Fayetteville, more so 2 to 3 inches, may get higher than that depending on the track. You get a little bit farther south towards Fort Smith, we're leaning more towards 4 inches. Greenwood, very similar story, 4 to 6 inches, just south of the I-40 corridor. Winter storm warning already affecting Logan and Scott County, and I do anticipate these counties in the River Valley to also be upgraded. And again, LaFleur and Scott County, southern portions of these counties could get upwards of 6 to 8 inches from this particular storm system. All right. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this baby up. Again, I really, really appreciate everybody's patience over the last several days. Again, forecasting winter weather is such a challenge, especially in this area. It's a challenge with social media. I've said this over the last several days. I said that with the system that came through northwest Arkansas over the weekend into Monday morning. It makes it challenging And I know it's very difficult to kind of go through the weeds and see what's true and what's not true. But we really, really appreciate you trusting us to give you that information and to kind of have patience with us as well as we continue to fine tune this forecast. Again, it's still complicated, even though we got the cold air already in place. The track of the system complicates things quite a bit. So we are going to be watching this very closely. We're going to continue to keep you posted. Again, today is the last full day to prepare for this event. Tomorrow evening into the overnight hours, we are expecting travel conditions to become quite difficult over our area. And as we head into Friday morning, it will remain that way. We could see some travel impact Saturday morning as well with potential refreezing. So if you're wondering about travel, really, it won't improve a whole lot until Saturday when we start getting that sunshine and those temperatures are above freezing. So anyway, hope everybody has a wonderful rest of this Wednesday, this hump day. Hope folks that are going to the Razorback game have a great time. I'll be there. So have a great time. You don't have to worry about anything tonight. Hogs by 90, Boogie Flynn with 30, Thero with 30. Let's go with Carter Knox with 15. And a big-time win for the Razorbacks against Ole Miss. Woo, pig suey indeed. But again, everybody, have a great Wednesday. Dan Scoff, Peyton Langford will be here later on this evening with all the latest details. Really appreciate you. God bless, and have a great rest of your Wednesday, folks. And oh yeah, I'm not going to forget about the challenge either. If we get over 7.5 inches of snow in Fayetteville, I'm going to run 2 miles of it. All right, I'm out of here. Bye.